Good evening to all of our regional leadership from Region 1 to Region 7. I am pleased to welcome you to the 112th Annual NAACP Convention. Your work in your regions this evening is to coordinate the work of civil rights and social justice among the states in each of your regions. I look forward to your leadership leading this association at the local level, ensuring that education, ensuring that criminal justice, ensuring that environmental justice are at the top of our priority list. I want to understand that you indeed are fighting forward on behalf of your communities, no matter where you are, whether you are in Honolulu, Hawaii, or whether you are in Salt Lake City, whether you are in Wiscasset, Maine, or whether you are in South Dade in Florida. It is your responsibility as leaders in your specific regions to be on the job, monitoring to ensure that social justice, that civil rights, that voting rights are on the top burner at every level of government. I am pleased to be with you this evening. I look forward to the work that you will do in your regional meetings, and I ask you always to fight forward with the NAACP for your communities.
Hello and welcome NAACP family. I'm Karen Boykin-Towns, and it is my honor to serve as the Vice Chair of the NAACP National Board of Directors. As we begin our regional meetings for our beloved organization, I'd like to take this moment to thank you for your willingness to play a significant role in what remains the foundation of the NAACP, leading our fight forward for equality, equity, and justice for Black lives. Our mission remains to take actions and create solutions that bring about sustainable change for the Black community. The decisions that you will help to make over the next few days will play a pivotal role in establishing our NAACP positions on issues that impact our communities today, tomorrow, and for years to come. I'm honored and proud to serve alongside you as we continue fighting forward. Again, thank you for your commitment and enjoy your regional meeting.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. It is my honor to serve you during this historic moment. I'd like to welcome you to the 112th NAACP National Convention and to these very important regional meetings. Serving alongside you in this premier civil rights organization remains a tremendous opportunity that I am forever grateful. I can't begin to express how proud I have been of the efforts of all of us working through the association. You have done incredible work to push our communities forward. 2021 has afforded us this moment to push for the change our communities so desperately need. From the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 pandemic on us, to the systemic racism that has existed in this country for centuries, or our efforts to protect democracy. Our plight has been challenged at every turn, yet with a determination, zeal, and fortitude that can only be found in our communities, we forge ahead, we fight forward. These convenings provide us with the collaboration and roadmap necessary to continue to push our organization forward in our effort to improve, protect, and change the future of this nation. Thank you for this opportunity to serve you, but even more, thank you for what is possible for the future of our organization and this nation. It is our job to make possible what others believe is impossible. So again, welcome, and as always, let's get to work.
Hello, I'm Michael Turner, Chair of the Convention Planning Committee and member of the National Board of Directors. Thank you for participating in your regional meeting. Your role in our organization is extremely vital. Today, you will discuss and vote on important positions for your region. Thank you for doing your duty as a proud member of the NAACP. I'm honored to serve with you as we continue fighting forward to move, protect, and change our communities. Let's get to work.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. It is my honor to serve you during this historic moment. I'd like to welcome you.
Hi, I'm Hazel Dukes, a member of the National Board of Directors and Chair of the Election Supervisory Committee. Here are the rules for electing board members at the 2021 Annual Convention. Nominations must be received on Saturday, July the 10th, via email at ballot@naacpnet.org, no later than 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Rule number 1, the deadline to receive consent forms for a candidate to the National Board of Directors at the annual convention will be July 10th via email at ballot@naacpnet.org, no later than 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Rule number 2, for candidates wishing to make speeches, the official nominating speech reservation form must be submitted to the chairman of the election supervisory via email at ballot@naacpnet.org, no later than 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, July the 12th, 2021. Rule number 3, nomination speeches will be no more than 3 minutes each and no more than 1 seconding speech of 1 minute. These videos should be sent with the completed nominating speech reservation form and submitted by email at ballot@naacpnet.org no later than 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, July 12, 2021. Rule number 4, only a certified voting delegate to the annual National Convention may place an individual's name in nomination or second a nomination. Rule number 5, the qualifications per NAACP Constitution, Article 4, Section 3 states, any member in good standing of the association who's been a bona fide member for at least 180 calendar days prior to the date nominations are made and who has not been an employee of the association or any of the units during a 2-year period prior to the date nominations are made and is affiliated with a local unit shall be eligible to be nominated, elected, and serve on the board of directors. Rule number 6, consent forms can be requested by email at ballot@naacpnet.org by submitting a request for consent to the Election Supervisory Committee. Rule number 7, consent forms may be requested from the Election Supervisory Committee via email at ballot@naacpnet.org, following the chairman's address at the opening session of the convention on Sunday, July 11th, 2021. To be considered by the committee, all consent forms must be submitted no later than 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Monday, July 12th, 2021 deadline. Email consent forms and petitions to the Election Supervisory Committee at ballot@naacpnet.org. Rule number 8, voting shall be conducted by using an electronic ballot. Voting will commence for registered delegates Tuesday, July 13th at noon Eastern Time and conclude on Wednesday, July 14th at noon Eastern Time. Results will be announced during the closing session. Rule number 9, all voting delegates to the convention are eligible to vote and will be authenticated through the process assigned for registered delegates. Rule number 10, the nominee who wins 50% plus one of the ballots cast will be declared the winner. Thank you.
President Bledsoe, I think.
I presume it's time to call the meeting to order. My name is Gary Bledsoe. I'm the Regional Chair, President of the Texas State Conference of NAACP branches, and welcome all of you to the convention, the Region 6 meeting at the annual convention, the 112th annual convention of the NAACP. 2020 and 2021 have been some significant years for all of us. I think all of us understand the impact that the pandemic has had on our communities, but we also understand the great changes that we're undergoing and the opportunity that was tragically brought to us by the death of George Floyd and the aftermath of things that have occurred there. And one of the things that I'm really very concerned about, that I think many of us are concerned about, and why I'm so glad that we're having the convention now, is that I think our country is in the midst of a revolution. Many people don't know that or understand that. I think there are many people that showed up on January 6th, and many people who are supporting them who are very concerned about the movement of people in our community. So the point that I want to make to all of the delegates and those that are in attendance at this regional meeting is that we need to have a focus on actually becoming unified. Because just like in times and years past, there are enemies out there that really intend to do us harm. So it's going to be extremely important for us to be together as an organization, as African Americans that are fighting to make sure that we have each other's backs, that we have to understand that there is an enemy, but the enemy is not in the room. We have to keep our focus on making sure that we do civil rights and we do the kinds of things that make us proud. Region 6 has been a great region for many years. You have people like Rupert Richardson, Althea Simmons, Clara Luper, some truly great leaders that we've had that did tremendous things for the association, all that hailed from Region 6, that at one time was the most powerful region in this country. We need to come back and make sure that we come together in unity and try to put forth a unified front in terms of fighting the system that is against us in the 5 states within our region. So I'm hoping that all of us have the great spirit of camaraderie and that we all keep our eyes on the prize, and the prize is to make sure that we obtain justice for our people and make sure that we continue to carry the mantle of civil rights for the NAACP and hold the torch high that has been held so high for many, many years, that has made the difference in my life, and I would say for sure all the lives of those who are on this line today. And so I want to start our meeting out with that, with the message of unity, and hope we continue to have that as we go forward today. We customarily rotate the position of chair for the association in our regional meetings. I have been chair for the past year. I think this year we will rotate to Arkansas. And I think one of the items that I am supposed to do is to bring forth the agenda and have the agenda adopted. And I want to ask a question and then have an invocation to actually start out the meeting here. So I'd like to ask Mr. Bates to entertain the question. There was one issue that was brought to the state presidents in reference to the nominations committee that I don't see on the agenda today. So before we put the agenda up for a vote, I wanted to see if you would take a look at that issue and see if you can give us an answer to that, because that was on the subject for us to discuss but it is not on the agenda to be discussed tonight. So I'd like to get some clarification on that issue, if you would, please. And so,
President Bledsoe, I believe he said it can be added to
I know
the agenda.
limited. Okay, it should be added to the agenda. Okay, okay. Now I know we're limited in terms of the individuals who can speak this evening. So now we have time for the invocation, and so I want to ask Brother Shaw if he might bring the invocation for us to get our meeting started in the right way.
Gracious Lord, we come, Father, saying thank you for allowing us to be here at this hour. We ask, Father, that you watch over us as we conduct the business of the NAACP in Region 6. We ask that you continue to watch over those who are sick and shut in, and those behind prison walls. These are the blessings we ask in our Son, Jesus' name, and for his sake. Amen. Okay.
Okay. Well, Shaw, thank you very much for getting us started with that. I don't know if you have a copy of the agenda, but one of the items that needs to be added to the agenda is a selection of a person to be on the National Nominations Committee relating to an at-large position. We have a Texas member that's up this time, Howard Jefferson. So we'll add that to the agenda, and we'll add that to the agenda, and I would say here we'll add that to the agenda right after the Election Supervisory Committee. So we'll have the Election Supervisory Committee, and then we'll go to the Nominations Committee right after that. So do I hear a motion to adopt the that agenda and to move forward with that agenda? And the agenda, in case you're not looking at it, is that so moved? Okay, thank you. Is there a second to adopt the agenda? Okay. Okay. And what's the voting mechanism that we have this evening right now? I just call for a vote and see if there's a chat room, the chat, and have people indicate in the chat, or
no, President. Oh, well, go Quincy. I think production will handle the voting for you.
We have a poll that's going to be launched so that we can for the approval of the agenda.
I'm hoping on something like this we don't need it though, right, for the agenda. So could I just ask for a show of hands, what have you, who wants to adopt the agenda? Or I guess we can go ahead and do the poll. Like you have the poll up, and so approve the agenda, yes or nay. So the poll is there in front of you. So let's just go ahead and use the poll, please.
It's not letting me select my answer.
So, Mr. Shaw, we can't vote as panelists, but Quincy, we have people that are in. But I want to make sure, Quincy, we have people that are in here and they still don't have the option to vote. So I don't think they're showing as delegates.
Right.
Because I'm getting a lot of messages saying they can see the poll, but they cannot vote.
And so, yeah, someone put in there, Eric put in there, if you're a delegate, please put in the chat box your name, that you're a delegate, so you can be moved to the correct spot so that you can be able to vote.
Yeah, it looks like production, those that are delegates, we need them moved to attendees so that they can vote. Because if they're made panelists, they can't vote like we can vote. But I'm getting a lot of messages of a lot of people saying they can see the poll, but they cannot vote.
Quincy to Curtis. Curtis, if we could move Tanika Moultrie back to attendee so that she will be able to vote. Let's see.
We are doing that right now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I think everyone else here is.
We can attempt relaunching
Charles
this poll
Heckert.
as well.
Charles Heckert needs to be moved back to attendees. Crystal Bates needs to be moved back to attendees. Gina Aranda, I don't think she's production. She will need to be moved back to attendees so that she can vote.
Quincy, I also need Tony Grimes and Elisa Simmons. Do you need me to type them in the chat? They don't have access to vote either. See, I think a lot of them are in, but it doesn't have them as attendees.
Alyssa Simmons, she should have the ability to vote because she's an attendee.
Okay, Tony Grimes, Shirley Spears. Gentlemen, do y'all have anyone so I can yell out their name too? That way we make sure we see everybody.
Gina Aranda.
You're right.
Gina Aranda, yeah, she's back on the attendee side, so she should
Okay.
to vote.
I'm unable to access the poll.
If you're a panelist, we
Your
can.
panelist, Laura, yeah, you won't be able to do it. Your panelist, Madam Secretary.
Okay.
Thank you, Curtis, for relaunching the poll. There we go.
I think we can do it now.
He let us do it now. Go on, Curtis.
There we go.
Thank you all. I appreciate your patience.
Thank you.
Give it another 10 seconds, and then you can close the poll. I think we should be good. President Bledsoe, you have 99% yay of approval for the agenda and 1% abstain.
Great. That means we can move forward with the agenda and have the agenda to move forward. Okay, so now we've adopted the agenda, and the first item on the agenda is to do what we do customarily, and that is to actually elect the regional officers for the convention. I think there may be one slight mistake in it. I think that the incoming chair would be Frank Shaw from the great state of Arkansas. Michael McClanahan would be the vice chair. I don't think we have a co-chair in the rules. I think it should be vice chair. So he'll be vice chair. And Diane Carey will be secretary from Arkansas, and the assistant secretary will be Laura Bowman. And so that would be the first item on the agenda, is to elect them to come in as the regional officers for this convention. And I would say that I would ask someone to make such a nomination. But let me say here that one of the things that I can say as a national board member is that we have seen our organization make great strides in a positive way. We now have a board that is a civil rights board that's unified. We all are in one accord, trying to accomplish what we need to for the organization. For the first time that I've seen, even from the time before I was on the board of directors. So I think it's great, and so we want everybody to know that when we turn over to you, we're entrusting something that's very important and that's working very well, and we know that you will keep it well and that you will hold the torch of the NAACP up high for Region 6. And so as we all work together to return Region 6 back to a leadership position within the National Association in the place where it should be. Do I hear a yes nominations that for the sake of time, if everyone's okay with them, may say this is not appropriate. Is there a nomination for those 4 persons to become the regional officers for this year, so we don't necessarily have to go through each one, because there are other items later on that'll probably be a little bit more time consuming. So I wouldn't think there would be a disagreement as to those individuals being the regional officers for this year. Is there a...
I make a motion that we accept those slate of officers for the 20 for this year.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a second to Mr. Cotton?
I second it.
Okay, good. That's been moved and seconded. We accept this slate of officers. So I guess could we vote on the just on the regional slate of officers that's been put forward?
That's Curtis. We can watch the vote. Give it another 10 seconds and we can close. So we have 98% yay, 1% nay, and 1% abstain.
Actually, I had a nay. Wow. Okay. Well, that slate is adopted or elected for this year. So I will now turn things over to Mr. Shaw and wish you the best of luck and look forward to working with you the rest of the meeting. So thank you, all Region 6 who've been on the line and have been such great stalwarts for civil rights through the years. So, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, and good evening to everybody, and thank you for allowing us to participate in this opportunity as we begin this year with our convention. We'll go ahead and proceed with our agenda in the reading of the 2020 minutes. Ms. Erica Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Let me get those. So the condensed version, because I know y'all don't want to hear me talk long. Meaning the minutes from the last Region 6 meeting. Meeting was called to order by our chair, Mr. Anthony Douglas. We had an invocation, approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes as provided by staff. And then we also, oh, I'm sorry, my video wasn't on. Is my video on now? Okay. We also had greetings from Chairman Russell. He came in and talked to everyone. We also had greetings from our state conference presidents, greetings from our regional board members, and then the meeting was turned over to Dr. Cashmere, who typically handles our elections for us in Region 6. And the election went as forward. The chair was Gary Bledsoe, vice chair was Mr. Frank Shaw, secretary Erica Kane, assistant secretary Gloria Cathia, treasurer Ms. Ora Washington. And then we went into our committee nominations. For resolutions, we had Mr. Horace Brown, Mr. Gary Ezel, Ms. Cathita. For nominating committee, we had President Anthony Douglas. For election supervisory committee, we had Ms. Tanika Driver-Moultrie. We then went into Region 6 board nominations. We had 2 candidates. The first candidate was Mr. Mike McCallahan out of Louisiana, and the second candidate was Mr. Claude Cummings out of Texas. We had updates from our director, Ms. Carmen Watkins, that discussed how the regional tie would move forward depending on what all was going on with COVID. We had several announcements from national staff, and then we had adjournment. And that is all I have, President Shaw, Chair Shaw.
Thank you so much. You've heard the reading of the minutes. Will the chair entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Minutes to adopt it.
I second it.
If you will give us your name and your location, please.
Gary Bledsoe, Texas, moving to adopt the minutes.
Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma. Second.
Okay, thank you.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor? Do we need to do a poll on this also, Mr. Bates?
Yes, we can launch the poll, Curtis, for accepting the minutes.
Let's have delegates to vote. Okay.
President Shaw, you have 99% yay, 1% abstain.
Thank you so much. We have approved our minutes. Next, we'll have the credentials report. Ms. King.
And I'm looking like that because I thought Mr. Bates had sent me an email. I believe the total count for delegates is 366 delegates.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have the election of the national committees. At this time, we'll entertain nominations for the resolutions committee. We have 3 positions to fill.
Okay.
Mr. Bates, what direction do you have so that we can make those nominations?
The nominations can come from panelists, or if you come from our delegates in the chat, please list the name of the person you would like to nominate. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a rotation for state?
The name of Horace Brown.
I would like to submit the name of Ms. Dorothy Oliver.
I'll submit the name of Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma.
And what was the name?
Dorothy Oliver. Dorothy Oliver.
And Mr. Chairman, and I think for the delegates to know, this was the kind of the group that were agreed to the other day in the state conference meeting. Is that state conference president's meeting? Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Chair Shaw, I want to make sure we don't have what we had last year, and I'm kind of getting some messages, and I don't know if everyone else on here is getting it. We might want to, and I don't know why the production didn't do it at the beginning. I see that delegates are responding that they're not able to respond, so I think to alleviate the confusion we had last year, explaining that they won't, they'll have to use the chat box to make any nominations or anything, because I don't want people to feel disenfranchised and they're not able to participate in this meeting. But I'm getting a lot of messages that I don't think they understand that that's how it is on their side.
Now, should they be with the chat box or the Q&A box be better? Mr. Bates, can you give us some directions on that?
Yeah, so for the purpose of nominating someone, please use the Q&A. You can place your person that you will like to nominate, or if you would like to second someone, please put that information into the Q&A. People who are attendees, you will not be able to unmute yourself to speak. So if there's someone you need to nominate, someone you want want to lift, please put that into the Q&A and we will acknowledge it there.
So Q&A, please. And we'll take just a few minutes to see if there are any more nominations for the resolutions committee.
Okay. I thought Gary had explained how we came with those three names.
Yes, but we don't want our delegates to feel disenfranchised, as Ms. Kane indicated. Right. We want to make sure that everybody's clear on that. And just a few minutes to give any time to those who may want to have any questions that we want you to answer as well. Thank you.
And I think what Mr. Cotton is saying, Mr. Chairman, is that we want the delegates to know that these three names are supported by all 5 state conference presidents.
And what we generally try to do as well is to make sure we can have participation from all the states as well. So if you would, Ms. Kane, as you look at that, can we put the states beside those persons that were nominated as well? There we go. Okay. So at this time, do we need to take a motion to accept these nominees to the Resolutions Committee?
I second. Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma.
Mike McClanahan, Louisiana.
Been moved and properly second. So then we'll present a poll to do the voting for the Resolutions Committee.
Curtis, whenever you get a chance, we can launch the poll for resolutions.
I think Ms. Kane just sent out a very important message on that, Mr. Chairman. You might want to repeat that one. Yes.
Poll has been launched. You can vote now.
Mr. Chair, you have to unmute Mr. Shaw.
From Ms. Kane, the Resolutions Committee needs to review the resolutions that are submitted for the National Convention to act on. Our poll is up. Very good.
Mr. Chair, we have 96% yay, 1% nay, 3% abstain.
Thank you so much.
The resolution committee.
Thank you. Our committee has been approved. Election Supervisory Committee. We'd like for you to put into the Q&A the nominations for the Election Supervisory Committee.
And,
Mr. Chair, if I may, during our state president's meeting, we had determined that that person would come out of Arkansas. Is that still not the case?
Yes, that is the case, and we would like to present a nomination for the Election Supervisory Committee, Ms. Dr. Mary Ladale.
I second the nomination, Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma.
And Texas defers to Arkansas. I think we reached out to Arkansas, and they'll defer for us on another matter. So we're defer to Arkansas for this position.
Glad that. Here you go. Thank you so much. Okay.
Was it Texas' turn for that? I mean, if we're doing the rotation?
Arkansas turn.
I don't think I don't think it was a rotation. We had it last year. I think normally that's customary with if there's an incumbent board member that comes from the state, is what I recall. But I know others say that that's where the rotation was. I don't recall that being a rotation, but maybe it was. But
it was the rotation. Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma. It was the rotation. That's how I was allowed to serve on that election supervisor committee, because we rotated it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. New Mexico.
But we'd all agreed to it anyway, so.
And we'll accept the, we'll launch the poll to accept the nomination of Dr. Mary Liddell to the election supervisor committee.
Okay, thank you.
Poll has been launched. You can vote now.
Everyone has an opportunity to vote.
Seven.
97% yay, 2% no, 3% abstain.
Thank you. You have approved the nomination for the election approved Dr. Mary Liddell to the election supervisor committee. Next committee would be the National Nominating Committee.
Texas tenders the name of Dr. Gregory Hudspeth from Texas.
Mr. Chair, if I may, during our president's meeting, the name of Mike McClanahan was submitted with Louisiana, Arkansas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma agreeing to the name of Mike McClanahan from the great state of Louisiana to serve on that nominating committee.
Correct.
Well, I don't think that occurred at the meeting. I think there was an email later, and I think Mr. Shaw and I did have a subsequent conversation in reference to the position as well.
Okay.
Well,
Any more nominations?
And the Hudspeth has a P, Hudspeth, P-E-T-H.
What, Mr. Chair, did we have a discussion about who had that position last year? Is that a rotating position? Is that one of those gentleman agreement things that Region 6 was working on?
Or is it? Had it last year from Texas, and I think.
And that's Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma. You're right. Texas had it last year. We normally rotated so that Mike McClanahan had agreed to it. We all agreed to it with him. And I think we should continue on within our rotation to give every state in the region a chance to participate in that on that committee.
President Douglas, I just want to clarify. I was not on the nominating committee last year. I didn't serve on that committee.
But we said Texas had it.
Well, I don't know where you're getting that from, President Douglas. That was not the discussion. If it did rotate, it would be rotating to Arkansas, not to Louisiana at this point. Okay. The nominating committee will be a national nominating committee, and I've served on it before. It is not a rotating committee. Okay. And the purpose of this is to select the people to run at large. This is a very important committee, and I know that Ms. Kane and I have been trying to work and lobby other regions so we can get more representation from Region 6 on the National Board of Directors. And we have a Texas member who's one of the at-large candidates who's up this year. That's Board Member Howard Jefferson. So we think it's extremely important that we have a Texas person on the nominating committee to help make sure that we can get that position filled appropriately for Region 6.
President Bledsoe, let me applaud you and Ms. Kane for working to get another Texas person in the region on the board. However, please understand that within Region 6, we all would like to have individuals from our state and within the region to be diversified in leadership within the board as well. So we may have other individuals in our region who might want to serve on the national board. And I think it's only fair that we open this up so everybody gets the opportunity to nominate somebody from their state to serve on the national board as well. So I really applaud you and Ms. Kane for working diligently in your state to get someone from Texas to be on the board. We really appreciate you.
And we've worked for other states as well. I was one of the main persons to push Mr. Rux to run again. He didn't want to run again, but I thought we needed Mr. Rux. Always enjoyed serving Mr. Rux, so we deferred to Mr. Rux for a position that had been held by a Texan. So we gave up a position held by a Texan to go for Mr. Rux. So we really understand the need to work with other states, and we are concerned about every single African American in the region, not just Texas. We just think that there's chances for different states at different times that might be different. So that's what we're saying now. We actually have a Texan who is actually leaving the position.
Let me jump in.
How many?
Let's recognize who was the
Mike McClanahan.
The chair recognizes Mike McClanahan out of Louisiana.
Clearly, if this is going to be a Region 6 seat, clearly someone from Region 6, such as somebody from Louisiana, understands who is in Region 6. So what better person to sit in that nominating committee to look out amongst the lay of the land and determine the best person to serve for us and with us on the national board. I'm a national board member also. So I think, we have agreed with Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico that I would be the particular candidate to serve in that nominating committee. And I think it's only right that we carry out the wishes that we had already agreed to so that we can keep going. I think as time come around, there will be other opportunities for someone from another state to serve on this nominating committee. But we had agreed to allow Mike McClanahan and myself to serve. And so I'm prepared to serve now, as I've always been prepared to do, to serve the people in any capacity that we can.
And I might say, Mr. Shaw did agree to support Mr. Dr. Hudspeth.
The chair recognizes Mr. Bledsoe. Are you finished?
I am.
Yes, okay, then Mr. Douglas.
No, I yield to
I just wanted to clarify, because when I read the minutes from last year, I read that Mr. Douglas was the person from nominating, and I just wanted to make sure I had that right, because it wasn't me. So I just
Anthony wasn't on nominating.
Right.
Okay, so we need to correct that.
That person was from Texas. Yeah, it was a Texas seat.
No, who was that, Mr. McClanahan? If there was someone from Texas, tell us who it was.
Eric.
I was not on the nominating committee.
And the minutes say it was Mr. Douglas.
The minutes is not correct.
So I need to correct them, but I just want to clarify for the record, I did not serve on that committee, and I wouldn't sit in this meeting and not say I served. So I don't know why we keep saying, but I can check with staff and get the person that did, because I did not serve on the committee.
And so it was Mr. Douglas last year, talking about rotation, it would rotate to Texas.
I did not serve. But I yield to Joseph.
You may have been elected. It doesn't mean that you didn't serve. Whether you served or not is another matter, but you were elected apparently.
Chairman Shaw, I yield to Joe Cotton.
Cotton. Yes, sir. I just have a question. For some, and some of you guys have been here longer than I have, how many people from each region can serve on the nominating committee? Is it just one, or is it several?
We get one.
One person. Some have youth, and then some have adults. We have an adult delegate this year.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, we're going to call for the poll to be brought up to vote on the nominations that we have for the nominating committee.
Curtis, we need a poll that will allow the delegates to either vote for Dr. Gregory Hudspeth or Mr. President Mike McCallahan.
Understood. Thank you. Let me drop that poll right now.
No problem. Thank you. Give me 1 second, everyone. Get that corrected.
And I'm putting in a request to find out so that I can correct the minutes of who served, so that way I don't have the wrong person on there.
In all due respect to everyone, let's always look at Region 6 and work together, maintain our gentleman agreement, ladies and gentlemen agreement, that when we make one, we stand by our word as such. We're all here to support each other, and it would only be benefit that we do that working together within Region 6, like we have done so much in the past, without so much confusion and disruption.
I fully agree, and that's why we're going to get the minutes correct, so that way we can archive everything and know which way it's supposed to rotate.
Mr. Quincy Bates, may I have the names off the agenda for this poll, please? Thank you.
Yes. First name is Dr. Gregory Hudspeth. Let me just share my screen. There we go. And the second name is Michael McClanahan. Sorry, President McClanahan.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Can we have the state beside the names of the individual? What state they are?
Yes. Okay. Waiting to launch our poll. Please cast your vote for our delegates. As the poll is getting ready to come up, next we're going to have next we have the nomination of regional representatives to the national board. And I would ask Mr. Bates and others kind of help watch the Q&A so that we'll know when those nominations are being made.
So for the nominating committee, we have Dr. Gregory Hudspeth with 54% of the vote and President Michael McClanahan with 46%.
Okay. Okay.
We have approved Dr. Gregory Hudspeth to the National Nominating Committee. The next on the agenda is a nomination of regional representative to the National Board.
Mr. Chairman, yes. I move that we limit the nominations to one person from Region 6.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I oppose that. Traditionally, we should always allow anybody who run for the board in Region 6 have the opportunity to run, so that we don't just have one name and we all agree upon the one name. I think everybody should have an opportunity to run for the national board to represent Region 6. And that's tradition. We just did it last year. Why change it this year?
Okay.
Did we get a second to that motion?
I second that we have more than one name submitted for nomination to the regional representative to the national board.
Well, the motion was from Mr. Bledsoe, President Bledsoe, that we limited to one. There was no second.
Hold up a second. Joseph, New Mexico. So what we're saying is that we only want one representative for Region 6 and not allowing them to run.
That's the motion that's on the floor. The motion was, well, if we get a second, the motion is that we only have one nomination.
Mr. Chair, there's seconds in the chat, in the Q&A.
In the Q&A?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we allow more than one person to run for the seat in Region 6.
President,
hold on just a minute. Carry this motion through first.
We have several seconds in the chat. We have a second from Ms. Peaches Henry to second President Bledsoe's motion.
Okay. So it's been moved and it's properly second. So at this time, we need to have a poll launched so that the delegates can vote. Do you want to restrict the nominations to the National Board to be just one position, or are we going to leave it open to
not one position, but one name. Which other people can still run. They can go and submit by petition and get on the ballot. But I think it's something we've done before, where we've simply just decided we wanted to have just one name to come out of the convention.
And Mr. Chairman, I think that we should consider that we have other individuals who wants to run, who's already campaigning out there, that they should have their name placed in it and let the delegates vote on the individuals in our region like we always do. I believe the delegates should have a right to say something and not just accept that we're going to do just one name. So I'll make a motion. I want to put my motion on the table too, that we submit more than one name.
Yeah, we have a substitute motion, Mr. Chair, and I think we have to vote on the substitute motion first, and if it fails.
I don't think a substitute motion was offered. I think you made a.
The substitute motion is offered. I
don't think it's a substitute. It's a different motion than the original motion.
That's what a substitute motion is. It's a different motion.
What is
it? There's a motion now on the floor, Joseph, New Mexico. On the floor, there's a motion on the floor now and a second on the floor for limited, and then there's an amended motion, second motion. So we have two motions on the floor. So how do we vote on the first motion first?
You vote on listen, this is substitute motion. The substitute motion is different from the first motion. Okay, it's always different. That's why it's called a substitute. If it was the same, there would be no need for the substitute. You vote on the substitute motion first. If it fails, then we go back to the original motion. That's how it's done in parliamentary procedure.
No, that's not true. It's not a substitute motion. It doesn't meet the criteria for a substitute motion. This is a separate, different, and substantive motion. This is an amended motion that must be subject to an approval by the maker of the motion. So the rules would require the consultation with the maker of the motion as to whether or not the maker of the motion would allow that to occur. This is not, that's a complete motion.
So we have to go to the maker of the motion. Do you accept the amendment to the motion?
I do not.
Okay. Call for a vote.
We need to have in the poll, we need to launch a poll to see if the delegates want to restrict one name coming from the regional caucus here.
1 second. Let's give me a second to work on production on the poll.
I still say I think we got it wrong. I think we got it wrong. That's not the purpose. The maker of the motion is one who brings forth a motion, right? And anyone
change that motion, you got to have the approval of the maker of the motion.
Okay, the purpose of a substitute is not to agree with the maker of the original motion. The substitute motion comes in because the person who made the second motion saying, I don't agree with it as it is, let me bring a substitute motion next to the original motion to give them an opportunity to vote on as an alternative to the first motion. That's what that is.
Mr. McClanahan, if that were the case, you could always stop anyone from getting a motion voted on. That'd be just as effective as the filibuster that we're fighting in DC right now, because all you would have to do would be for the opposition to come up with motion after motion after motion that's not required to be approved by the maker of the motion. So the original motion never gets voted on.
No, look, but you're wrong. But you're wrong. It gets voted on because the minute the substitute motion is made, it's voted on. If it's voted down, then the original motion comes into play. Then that's how that works.
And that's under Robert Rules of Order.
That's how it works.
Then you make another one. Then you make another one.
And that's the 11th edition.
Yeah,
he didn't go to Southern. He went to Texas Southern. He didn't go to Southern.
Okay, we launched the poll.
I can pull up my Robert's Rule of Orders here.
That's right.
Make sure you put up the 11th edition.
I'll withdraw my motion, you guys. I'll withdraw my motion.
We have the results. It did not pass. Okay.
Chair Shaw, can I say something, please?
Yes.
Okay, so because I am the person that's currently in the seat and up for re-election, I want to make sure everyone in this meeting understands I don't mind going through a campaign. I've done it before. I think my work speaks for itself. I also know, being in this association for 20 years, we've been in meetings where we've limited to one candidate. That happened my first go around. So I just want to say again, if we're all going to say that we're going to be in here and we're for unity and we're for Region 6, then let's show that on every accord. So that's why I asked President Bledsoe to remove the motion, because it's not about just sending my name. My work is going to speak for itself. I just want to make sure that if we're going to preach unity, we preach it in every aspect while we're in this meeting. So let's just remember that, because there are people on the outside that are also watching this meeting that are not NAACPers. Let's just remember that, everybody.
President Shaw?
Yes, sir, Mr. Douglas.
Is the floor open for nomination to the regional board seat? Are we at that level yet?
No, I got something I want to say. Hold up.
Hold on just a minute. The chair recognizes, wait a minute now. The chair recognizes Mr. Douglas. Now, we're at the point, according to the agenda, we're at the point of nominations to the national board. Mr. McClanahan.
You know, the cornerstone of democracy is to give everybody an opportunity to elect the person of their choice. If we limit that in this process, we're doing democracy a disservice. We might as well pack our bags and go home and say we're not for nobody but self. And Erica, I think you're right. I think if you're the particular candidate, and you will shine, but to limit those delegates as to who they want to choose and from whatever they want to choose from, we're doing Region 6 a disservice. There are so many great people out here that may want the opportunity. They got to go through the process of being nominated and losing to see if this is what they really want to do. They got to go through the process of talking to somebody. Look, I would like to have an opportunity to serve Region 6 on the national board. So let's give them opportunity. I think Region 6 will come out here stronger, because my wife and I have been married 25 years, and we might not agree, but when we step outside of our house, we're one. And I want you all to know we still are one.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have the motion is was withdrawn, so we're going to move on to go ahead, Mr. Douglas, with nominations to the we'll entertain nominations to the national board.
Wait a minute. Where are we at? Hold up. So
nomination of regional representative to the national board.
And that's the one that just spelled correctly?
No. We're entertaining names now to submit. We're not just talking about one position, just submitting one name. Yeah. We're asking for nominations for regional representative to the national board.
So we just had a lengthy discussion about not limiting it to one name.
Right.
And now we're going to vote on one name.
No, we're nominating.
Nominating. We're going to nominate names. Okay.
And we can, Mr. President, we can submit up to 3 names, I think is the rule. And it would not be, if there's a vote on whether or not to do something, putting forth one name would not have been foreclosing anyone's right to vote. But I want everybody to know that was my motion and not Ms. Kane. But I want to proudly put in name the nomination of Erica Kane from the great state of Texas to continue her term and serve another term on the National Board of Directors. Let me say a couple things about Ms. Kane that I think is extremely important for everybody to know.
Mr. Bledsoe, hold on just a minute. That we accept your nomination. Now we need to get the other nominations.
I nominate Linda Lydia. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Do we need a second on these names, or we're just giving names now?
I think we're giving names. They had to get their nomination forms in, so I think the nomination forms had to be put in. But I think each one will have seconds.
I'd see seconds coming in the chat.
Yeah, we have second
in the chat. So you need a second, Erica Kane.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
hold on, one second.
Yes, sir.
Madam Secretary, please note that the motion was made by President Bledsoe, and it was seconded by President Cotton.
Cotton. Thank you, Cotton. Bledsoe. Okay. Thank you.
We have the name of Linda Lydia as a second.
Who?
We have a second.
Who nominated?
I don't think we need a second. I don't think we need a second for that in the thing here.
Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma, nominated Linda Lydia.
Oh, okay.
I think Mr. Chairman, I don't know. I think the way they've been doing it is they allow the person nominating to say something and allow the person to second to say something, or, so I think that's, and if you remember, Ms. Dukes talked about doing that with the at-large position that will be up during the convention for the vote next week. And so I think that's the way I understood from staff they would probably do it. But I don't know what your druthers would be, but I think that's how you normally do it. I think last year we allowed them to speak during the convention.
Mr. Chair, I move that the nominations close.
I second it. Anthony Douglas, Oklahoma.
Been moved and properly seconded that nominations be closed. Now, at this point, and maybe you all can direct me on this, or staff can direct. So we have these two nominations. Now, we're not voting at this point. We're just submitting those names to be voted on later. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right. Both the names will be lifted to be placed on the ballot for the Region 6 board seat.
And also, Chair Shaw, anyone, they can go to the website, any other delegate that's in good standing that would like to run can also do a petition to be on the ballot. And they don't need to get that petition in until September. So just in case, if anyone else chooses to run, they have that right also.
Mr. Chair, you have to vote on the motion that I made that to have the nomination cease.
Cease.
Okay, been moved and properly seconded the nominations be closed. All those in favor, do we need to do that through the poll as well?
Do it by poll.
1 second, please.
I don't know what we just did.
I think it need to say something to the effect that the
nominations. Yes, 1 second. So Curtis, not this poll yet. We need a poll that will say close nominations.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're sending two names to represent Region 6 right now, and then anyone else at large that they decide to run can submit their nomination form.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They have to submit a petition.
Petition, yes.
The petition with signatures that they have to get.
Okay. These two names won't need the signature petition.
Correct.
Okay. Just need a little clarity there. We get a little rusty when we get personal. We just, we want it to work. So
I got the Constitution right here by me. I got the yellow one, the blue one, and a small one. So
okay.
I know Mike got one up here. So we got it. Let's to the side.
I got one sitting here.
Mr. Chair, I need to be transparent. I'm at the Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a graduate, alumni.
Curtis, we can launch the poll.
Do we have the poll? Yeah.
To close.
Okay, we got it there.
There you go.
Okay. While we're voting on our poll, it should be closed in just a few seconds. Next on the agenda will be the Youth and College Report by Mr. Marcus Virgil.
Curtis, to Quincy to Curtis, can we pull Traylon Rogers from the attendee side over to the panelist side to give the youth report?
Quincy, can you also ask Curtis? I know board member James has been trying to get moved over and he hasn't been able to be moved over.
Stand by. We are looking for those names. Can you repeat the names, please?
Yes, the first name is Traylon Rogers. Traylon T. Rogers.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to give the candidates who two names, Erica and Miss Lydia, an opportunity to speak to the delegates while they're on the call?
That would be an option for the, if you all want to. I don't, is that protocol or is that something that's been done in the past?
I would ask not, because in all fairness, I don't believe Miss Lydia is able to speak because she's not a panelist. So they would have to move her over as a panelist. I don't want to speak and she's not able to speak. I don't think that's fair. So if production can't move her over, then I don't think that's right. I wouldn't speak if she can't speak.
I agree with you there.
Would production be able to move her over to the panelist side?
Yes. Curtis, can we move Lydia from the attendee side to the production side as well?
And I would defer to allow Miss Lydia to go first. And thanks for that recommendation, Mr. Douglas.
Just want to make sure everybody have an opportunity to, so the delegates around the region can see them and understand the work they have done within the region. And we all have done great work within our region.
We have the results of the poll, the last poll. Thank you. So we'll close the nominations on that, okay? We have Mr. Rogers on this time for the Youth Work Committee report. Youth and College report.
We have sent a message to Traylon Rogers to accept approval to become a panelist. He has to accept.
Okay. Has Lydia been able to be moved over yet?
Yes, Miss Lydia has been moved. She is now a panelist.
Okay with you all, then Ms. Lydia, would you come before the delegates, please, this time? You have to unmute, Ms. Lydia.
Good evening, Region 6. Really glad to be back in the presence of such greatness. I would like to go ahead and allow Ms. Kane to go first because she is our incumbent board member. In addition, alphabetized, and I want to do this the proper way.
So you know you raised me, so I'll allow you to go first.
No, I'm going to let you go first, Erica, because you really are. You're the incumbent, and you've really done a great job, and I'd like for you to go ahead and start. Thank you.
Okay, well, I will, even though, you know, I was going to let you go. Delegates, alternates, observers, everyone out there that is watching us tonight. I first have to start off by saying I wouldn't be sitting in this seat if it wasn't for Miss Linda Lydia. Miss Lydia groomed me from the time that I came into NAACP. The first meeting I had, I met her and Bob Lydia, and they brought me into the association. And so, as most of you know, I've come up through the ranks of every position behind her because I was groomed for that. And so, as your board member, I ran on the platform 2 years ago that I would come into this region and build this region. I would make sure that the national office understood that the local units should come first. And throughout that process, you'll see from my campaign material, as well as from the meetings that I've had with several of you and will continue with you, our delegate count increased this year because of the conversation that I sparked about the year-end financial report. And so the board will vote this weekend on whether we will suspend those fees or what that would look like. But that has sparked another conversation in the finance committee that I sit on to make sure that we get funds to the local units. I know that is one of the big concerns that you've addressed. The other thing that I also ran on was bringing technology into the region as well as the national staff. And so most of you have sat on and participated. I think the count now is up to 4,000 people have participated in those virtual office hours. That was actually my idea that I presented to the national staff because I knew as we went through a restructure, we needed to make sure that your voices were heard and that you had someone to reach out to. And so due to that, again, I have other fabulous ideas that I plan on continuing to bring to this region. When I ran 2 years ago, I did not run as a Texas board member. I ran as a Region 6 board member, and that goes across all lines, and I will continue to go across those lines. But I will tell you again, I have survived a COVID pandemic where we brought technology, we didn't miss a beat, we kept things moving. I kept you updated through social justice pandemic with George Floyd and everything going on. And now we have the voting rights. And I will continue to get the support of this region as well as my fellow board members outside. But I leave you with one thing. No matter what you decide today, it's not my plan, it's not your plan, it's not Linda Lydia's plan, it's the Lord's plan. That's who got me in this seat, that's who will keep me in this seat, or he will decide what my next path will be. But no matter whether it says Erica Kane board member, I'm NAACP at heart. And when you cut me, I bleed NAACP. I will not disappear when I don't have a position. I'll still be here and you'll still be able to reach out to me. So again, I thank all of you that have put the time into me and raised me. And no, I'm not going anywhere, people. I don't need a title. I just want to work for the association that I've given my life and my heart to. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lydia?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I am really, again, happy to be in the midst of Region 6 and the great people and leaders of this region. Ms. Kane, thank you for the compliments that you've given, and I do think we did a great job with you and a lot of other young people that have come through this association as a result of my leadership and my work that I have done within this association. I served as a youth advisor for many years for Texas State Conference. I was a state conference secretary. I was also the third vice president of the Texas State Conference. I have worked on the National Youth Work Committee and been on that for at least 5 terms. So I have a very extensive history of work within the NAACP. In fact, I am now the youth work person for the Dallas branch, and I also am the person who is the youth advisor for the Juanita Craft Youth Council. I have many, many awards from the community, state, and national for the work that I have done in the arena of civil rights. And I feel very comfortable about those awards that I have received, and I have sent out information to people so that you could see some of the things, awards that I have received for the incredible efforts that I have made to try to ensure civil rights for all people, not just for Black people, but for all people. I'm very committed to advocacy work for the Coleman Foundation to make sure that African Americans' disproportionate mortality from breast cancer is resolved. I work with the League of Women Voters. I work with Feed My Starving Children, an international organization that works to feed children, and I have done mission trips in 4 different countries to address those concerns, in addition to all the work I do for the NAACP. I am really pleased that President Bledsoe mentioned the people that I had mentioned in my campaign material that I'd sent out. Mrs. Rupert Richardson, and the fact that Clara Looper and Mr. Allen, who were people who were within our region who brought a lot of unity and growth for us within this region. So I was really pleased that President Bledsoe was magnanimous enough to mention that. I also feel that we have a lot of work that we have done. I also feel there's a lot of work that we need to do. We need to work to bring more growth and harmony to this region because it has become somewhat fragmented. It really has. And we need to provide timely written reports to our members regarding national activities and status. And I commit to doing that here and now, and will do that if elected as your new board member. I will continue communicating with all of our states, not just Texas. We have got to get away from this thing about Region 6 is only Texas. Just because you're the largest, that doesn't mean that you are the person who should bring the most to the table, okay? And that seems to be what's happening in Texas, and I'm really disappointed. It looks like I've lost my visual. Okay, I'm having problems here. I'm actually at a hotel and not at home, and I'm on an iPad, so it's really sort of dysfunctional. I'm advocating for all units in our region. You don't have to worry about being from Arkansas, New Mexico, or Louisiana, or any other state other than even Texas. I will definitely be there to advocate. I will answer your phone calls, and I will return your phone calls very timely. I don't think anybody can say they've ever tried to call me and I did not call them back, or that I refused to talk to them or was anything other than polite and kind to them. I'd like to continue providing timely communication to our entire region. I want accountability from our national staff. That's Salesforce, technology. Yeah, technology is wonderful. But when you have technology that doesn't work, it's not so wonderful. And I get calls continuously from branches and other units that youth included that are not getting the kind of service or the responses that they need from national in regards to the Salesforce, and its accuracy is very much suspect. I'd like to provide needed resources for our regions and increase units throughout our region. I think that's important. And I know I have spoken long, and so I'm going to end this conversation, but I really would like for you to support me, and I will be reaching out to all of you, if those of you I haven't reached out to already. Thank you again.
Thank you thank you to the candidates, to those who have been nominated to the National Board to represent Region 6. Thank you for those remarks. The last thing that we have on our agenda is to look at, we have our Youth and College report, Youth and College report. Rogers.
I don't think Mr. Rogers was able to join us, so we'll do after we get the report out to all of our adult delegates.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, acknowledgements and announcements.
Can we please, presidents, if you could limit your remarks to about 30 seconds. We are 40 minutes over our time, and we have to move to another regional meeting. So 30 seconds, introduce yourselves, your state, and let's move as quick as possible.
I guess why the presidents are deciding who's going to go, Mr. Shaw. If I can just say, everyone should have received an email about amendments to the resolutions for the resolution meeting. So please make sure that you read those amendments to the resolutions before the resolutions meeting.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Frank Shaw. I am president of the Arkansas State Conference, NAACP.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike McClanahan, and I come from the great state of Louisiana. I serve on the membership and units committee with the association as well as on the national board. And everyone get ready for a great 112th convention. I'm excited. You get excited, and let's go to work.
And I'm Anthony Douglas from the great state of Oklahoma, former board member for the National Board of Directors. We just completed 100 years of the Tulsa Race Massacre, and you should come visit Oklahoma to see the museum.
Good evening. Joseph Cotton from the great state of New Mexico. Congratulations, NAACP, on 112 years. Thank you to all the national staff, our national leaders, our president and chairman, for the great work that you have done and the information you have provided to us throughout the pandemic. Congratulations to our own Pamela Herndon, who was elected to the state of House of Representatives out of the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
And my name is Gary Bledsoe, member of the National Board, president of the Texas State Conference. Really proud of all the great work that the many units that we have been doing over the year. We've had such tremendous success that our units have brought about. I think it's important that I bring that to everyone's attention, that we have viable units that are making a difference wherever they are. And to hear their reports always makes you feel good about the NAACP. I want to say two things. Just finally, we were very much involved in the last legislative session. Everyone should stay tuned. All the issues relating to what's occurring in Texas will be coming to your state. I think it's been a real challenge for us because there's so much antagonism and racism in our state. We've been fighting it as best we can. We need all of your prayers and your support to work with us because they're trying to create an apartheid state here in Texas, and I don't mean to exaggerate. That's really true, so we want to make sure that we all stay together. And finally, I'm proud of the work that Derek Johnson's been doing with the NAACP and through the leadership that he's exhibited and the new board that we have that indeed has really brought about the kind of synergy and positive relations that we need in the association to be about doing the business of the association. I'm glad we're moving in that direction, and we need to take direction from national and what we've been able to accomplish on the national board and make sure that we do that all around the country so that we can pull together. Because again, say one more time, there is an enemy, but the enemy's not in this room today. The enemy is on the outside, and I've enjoyed serving with Erica Kane and the other great people on the National Board of Directors.
Thank you all so much. At this time, if there's nothing else, we'll have our benediction. We'll ask President Cotton if he would lead us out with a word of prayer.
Mr. Chairman, before you do that,
yes,
Traylon Roberts is trying to get in, but they won't let him over.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's a connection issue there. We'll make sure we get that report out to everyone.
They're having some connection issues. They said they get their report out to us.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So at this time,
let us pray. Yes, sir. Thank you. Let us pray. Father, as we prepare to leave this place this soon, we ask that you put your arms of protection around each state that is represented under the sound of my voice, that you would continue to bless them, strengthen them, let them know that you are the Savior. Father, we ask for continuous prayer of this great organization, that you would continue to watch over each leader and each officer that's in a position to make change. Father, just continue to bless us and watch over us. Pray for this country and our leadership. May God bless us and may God keep us until we meet again. In your son's name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you each and every one. Thank you all so much.
Have a good night. Thank you all for being a part of the Region 6 meeting. You all stay safe and be blessed.
And
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Not Charlie's.
Recording stopped.
I missed that.
Where she was hiding, no justice, no peace.
You know, they have Charlie's Angels. So since it's reversed, it's all me and I'm the woman. Y'all my hunks.
Send me something for the cash app then. Send me a cash app. Do that. Send me a cash app.
Oh, is this Erica's Devils, or what are you saying? I don't know.
Right. Gary, see that's your fall guy right there, Gary. That's your fall guy right there.
Mike, we will actually, I think we'll be in New Orleans because we're supposed to be celebrating Traylon's graduation. So some of the youth board members, we're going to do one last hoorah together. And I'll let you know when we come to New Orleans.
Let us know. Come to Louisiana. You know what we're going to do. Turn you out.
Easy, Mike.
She really be how to no justice, no peace.
I'm going to get there too. And you can't call the cops on me when I get there.
No, as long as they don't call the state police, you'll be all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we got delegates still on the line.
Thank you.
Brother Douglas, quit that smoking now, okay? We want you to be around. Want you to be around for a while.
Look at here. I'm ready for you to run 6 miles or 10 miles in the morning. Let me know when you want to go.
Oh, I can run a marathon. You ready to go? We'll go. You want to run a marathon? We'll go.
Okay.
We'll go. We'll go.
We might as well do the Texas-Oklahoma rival.
Pretty good run.
We just had it on the call. We might as well do it on the street.
I can't with your senator up there.
You did that, Douglas.
It's pretty wild.
Good night.